It has been always about nitrogen, one of the most quantitatively important plant nutrient. It has a very direct linear relationship with the yield, which obviously we care about. Because of that, agriculture requires a huge amount of it. So what we are trying to do is to make that process more efficient, looking at the plant mechanisms to improve that process of pouring nitrogen, efficiently utilizing it to the photosynthesis, and in the end, not leaking it too much. It will really depend on what we are asking. Okay, so we are plant lab. Depending again on the question that we are asking, we will directly work with crops. So we have done quite a bunch of that with things like sorghum, wheat. We have done quite a bit of maize now to summarize. At the same time, if we are getting into the molecular details of some things, we have very nice model systems in things like our bats and rice. So we use those as well. It really depends on what question we are asking. Obviously, in the beginning, I don't expect them to, know what the point of the experiment is or what the experimental skills are. So I either teach them myself or pair them up with a student, somebody else in the lab, and they will get mentored until the person understands the procedure, understands the point of it, and is comfortable with that skill. Once the person progresses to the point where he or she doesn't require that much of, helicoptering, then I just gradually kind of back off to let that person have the steering wheel. At that point, I try to not lay down everything in front of them, but see if they can actually plan it on their own. That's a very important progress too. I don't micromanage. Students always have other things going on, like you have to teach the class, and especially if it's a genetics student, you have to TA a lot, especially at the beginning. So it's one of the skills that you have to develop to manage your time wisely and to be able to keep the multiple front going at the same time, right? So to do that, honestly, you're going to have to put in sort of the equivalent of 9 to 5. But when that happens is up to the student. And if you are not, up to par in terms of progress, you will see it on the back end. If it's within academia, that's the game that I know well. So, to be honest with you, I think I can probably mentor that group of students better. There's just the inherent bias that I have. So I will support that. I will also support, the classes or some workshops that would train them for that next step. So, that might be grant writing, version building, etc., networking. So of course they have to, obviously go to the conference and make themselves visible. I always push for oral presentation. Then you have the captive audience, and typically you get a lot better feedback compared to just a poster. If not looking into going to academia, what I try to do is to, even if that's completely out of my zone, I try to connect with faculty members who have more of that capability, involving them as a committee chair, encouraging to, take a class or internship in that area, etc. So it really depends on what the student is looking for. I try to cater as much as possible.